Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have some amazing news for you. You know how you haven't seen the trailer on the channel for a couple weeks? Well, we got it soda blasted, painted, and got the decals on. Can you believe that? Look how awesome it turned out. You believe me? You shouldn't. Nah, I'm just joking with you. This is, of course, my enclosed car trailer, right? The real trailer's still over here, still painted white, and still no decals. But let me tell you, I do have something really exciting to tell you. We found and had a conversation with two of the guys that worked on this trailer, that helped to build this trailer. And we got almost all of our questions answered regarding the ramp mechanism. You guys definitely need to stay tuned. We also got the drop deck out finally. So we're gonna take a look and see what that looks like with all of that removed. And we're gonna show you next steps, because based on our conversation we had with the guys that worked on this trailer, we've got some more archaeology to do, and we've got some more things to pull up, and we've got more things to find on the trailer, things that we should find on this trailer. So you are not going to want to miss this video. Do you want to help with the semi's restoration? Donate now to the Semi Restoration GoFundMe initiative, or buy one of our awesome Semi Restoration Team shirts. Links are in the video description below. All right, take a look at this. The fifth wheel finally is back on. It is no longer sitting at the corner of my garage. My wife is happy, therefore I'm happy. All right, let's take a look at this. So if you remember, I mean, obviously we had to graft on like the whole back of the frame. We had to move the axles. We had to do a whole bunch of stuff. So in the back of my mind for months and months and months is, did I measure everything right? You know, do we put the holes in the frame to match up with the holes of the fifth wheel? You know, is the fifth wheel going to fit? You know, all these different things were running through my mind. But as you saw from the video, it fit like a glove. I mean, it's ridiculous how perfect this is. I mean, just look at that. Look at how it fits perfectly in the notch. The holes, I don't know if you can see, but we are lined up on almost all of them. I think literally there's two that we've got to drill out a little bit more. This one and this one, but all the others are perfect. I'd say that's a win-win on my end. So the actual plate needs shifted all the way back in order to accept the trailer. That's where it was on the show. So we'll eventually get it pushed all the way back. But right now, we don't have the bolts in yet. But yeah, take a look at this. Over here too. Just really is just perfect. You can see daylight through all those holes. Now, of course, you know, we've got the frame cleaned up a little bit. We didn't clean this up, so we'll probably do some work here because now it really stands out, right? With the frame kind of cleaned up, and then you got this piece here. We got the airline. Well, we did all the airlines, which we covered in a previous video. We had the air here for the fifth wheel just laying there, so we got that hooked up. So whenever we fire this thing up, we should be able to apply air to this and actually slide it, hopefully. But there it is. We are making progress. Now we just need a sleeper. There's actually something exciting happening with that. No, we didn't find the original, but there's movement happening on that. I'll leave it at that for now. I'll leave you in suspense so you catch it on another video. But yeah, fifth wheel installed. We've got a new feature across the Knight Rider Historian's YouTube channel, Super Thanks, not to be confused with Super Pursuit. With Super Thanks, you have the option to post a distinct, colorful, and fully customizable comment in our videos comments section. This shows the world that you are a super Knight Rider fan and will stand out amongst the sea of comments that we receive. Go ahead, give it a try. And every Super Thanks gets a super response from us. Press the thanks button. Just don't press the turbo boost. All right, so you might be asking yourself, why am I standing in front of a blue Mustang with my daughter? Say hi, Emily. Hello. And of course, this has nothing to do with Knight Rider, but one of the things I've noticed in a lot of my past videos is there's been a ton of you who have noticed this car in the background of some of the other videos. And even though it's not Knight Rider related, I wanted to take a minute and just show you this car. So if it's something you're just not interested in, that's fine. If you look in the timeline of this video below, you can skip ahead and get past this piece on the Mustang, but I wanted to take a moment. So many of you have asked about this car, so let me give you just a quick couple-minute tour of the car. But before I give you that tour, let me just say this. I know some of you guys out there are GM fans, some of you are Ford fans. There apparently is this rivalry, right, where some people say, you know, they don't like Fords, found on Road Dead, all that stuff. Some of you like GM. I'm not here to debate that, and I really would prefer if we kept that out of the comments. This is just for those of you who are interested. If you're not interested in the car, you can skip it. All right, let's give you a little tour. So Emily, can you tell our fine folks at home why you like our Mustang so much?
I like the color of it and how the seats have stripes on it.
Okay, thank you, Emily. All right, so this is a 2013 Mustang GT. I got it in, when did I get this? It was 2020 or 2020? No, it was 2021. I got it in January of 2021. It was a 40th birthday present to myself. I had a Mustang prior to this, 2014. It was just a V6, kind of a base model, and I really wanted the V8. I absolutely had to have the deep impact blue color, and had to be a 6-speed. There had to be certain things on it. And I had to drive about 5 hours to find this car. Only has 40,000 miles on it. So it's, you know, it's about 440 horsepower, I think. It's sweet. It's so, I just absolutely love it. So it's got the GT500 rims on it. It has Brembo brakes. I didn't do much to the car. It's pretty much stock. I did add the stripe on the side to kind of break up the blue. Come around back here. It's got the nice spoiler. Hi, Emily. And let's take you inside. It's got the lighting package for those of you familiar. So the sills light up and you can change the color on the dash and all that stuff. Has tinted windows. There's the inside, and it has a glass roof, which I guess they didn't put on a ton of these cars. I wish it was like a power sunroof. That would be awesome, but they don't offer that. It's either a coupe or a convertible. But yeah, there it is. I did add, I swapped out the stock shifter and I put a Shelby shifter on that matches the color of the car. But yeah, there you go. Guess I'll pop the hood for you so you can see. Like I said, it's pretty much stock, so don't expect to see too much of anything not stock. Where's the latch here? There we go. Just as you would expect, I did add hood struts, so you don't need the prop rod, but might add a cold air intake at some point. Haven't done that yet. So there you go. There is my 2013 Mustang GT. All right, enough of that. Back to Night Rider stuff. Well, the weather is changing here, as you can see by the leaves on the ground. Temperatures are getting colder. So we are desperately trying to get a few more things done on the trailer before it really turns cold here. So let me take you around and show you today's progress. As you can see, we've got the ramp down. We had the welding company here, and they've started work finally on removing the tilt deck. They actually were able to engage the hydraulics, they were able to get them to work to lower the deck, as you can see here. They got all of the hydraulics, the pump, the hydraulic rams, they got all that stuff removed, and they're coming back tomorrow, and this is getting chopped up and getting out of here. So, but what I wanted to do actually, while this was still in, we have not been able to remove any of these panels up here because the tilt deck was in the way and it was covering some of the bolts. So with the tilt deck down, I really want to get behind these panels because I know I've peeked behind that one. As you can see, it's pulled back. There's unpainted original plywood back here. And I want to see if there's any markings on it, any clues to the mechanism. All right, so let's just take a look and see. All right, so let's see if I can maintain my balance and climb up here a little bit without falling. Actually, all right, so let's see if we can get some of these screws out. I think I already got most of those top ones out. Actually, that's loose there. All right, come back down a little bit. Where are we at here? I think we just got this one more. Come on. All right. That one should be loose. See if we can pull it down without killing ourselves. That would be a very unfortunate end. And that one needs to come out a little more. Don't fall. Pretty sure it's completely loose. Oh yeah. Oh! All right, there's one panel down. What do we see? Wood. Original wood. I don't see any markings there. Can we get that next panel down is the question. Yes, I'd say we are loose. All right, gonna be difficult. That's fine. There we go. Well, let me bring you in. You can see that side and then see if we can get this other side off. All right, so this is interesting. So there's clearly some plywood there, but this plywood, maybe a 1/4 inch thick. This plywood, oh, you know what? That's not plywood. That's just, oh, you know what? Okay, I got this figured out. I ran into this over here too. This is not, this doesn't go the whole way down. It's just about a 3-inch piece. This was added later. This very well could be the original plywood from 1978. possibly. Now I don't see any markings on this side, but let's go over here and pull these down and see if there's anything over here. There we go. Okay. Well, there are lines on here. Not that I know what that means. Let's see if we can get the next one out. There we go. And I mean, there's these pencil marks on there. And there's this drawing here, but this drawing I'm pretty sure equates to this on the tilt deck. So I think this was added later. But look, if we go up here to where the 3 bolts are, it's interesting that the lines stop right at the 3 bolts. The pencil lines on this board stop at the 3 bolts. I just don't know if that's significant or not, or what that means. All right, we interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcast of this very awesome Knight Rider Historians YouTube channel to bring you a shout out for our Patreon flag agents. So what are Patreon flag agents? I can hear you screaming into the computer right now. Well, chill out, I'll tell you. We have a Patreon community, a group, a collective of people that have supported us through the channel, and we have different tiers of support. And our flag agents are our top tier supporters. And whenever you become a Patreon flag agent, you get not only shout outs in our video, but we'll answer any of your questions live on the air, like we're going to do here in a minute. We've covered this a couple other times in previous videos. But if you're interested in joining our Patreon community, there's a link down below and a link in the corner right here of this video. You can check it out and see all of your support goes directly back to doing things like restoring the semi, finding these props, you know, all kinds of stuff. So, all right, so since I have last done one of these shout outs, we've gotten a few additional flag agents, so I want to go over that. And we have a decent amount of questions too, so bear with me. All right, Michael Hernandez. Michael, thank you so much for your support. Sean Berry. Now, Sean was one of our lower tier Patreon supporters, and he bumped up to a flag agent. So, Sean, thank you for your continued support. We greatly appreciate it. Steve Gregoroff. So, Steve is another one that increased his support. Thank you very much, Steve. Martin Lohr, Lohr. Hopefully I pronounced that right, Martin. Thank you so much for joining us here. And finally, Pete Fontaine. Now, Pete was one of our earliest flag agents from months ago, and due to a slight oversight, we're going to say like, I think Randy Merritt and Adrian Margot hacked into our system and we lost track of Pete. So he didn't get the shout out that he should have gotten a long time ago. So he's getting a shout out now. Pete Fontaine, thank you so much for your support. All right, so we've got some questions to go through, and maybe some of these questions are something that's been on your mind, and now you get the chance to hear the answer to it as much as I know. All right, so Sean Berry says, or asks, with all of your new discoveries regarding the Knight Rider car histories and the semi tractor and trailer, will there ever be any new books with these new discoveries in it? Also saw the video of the history of one of your kit cars. Will there be a video featuring the history of the kit car in the Peterson Museum? All right, Sean. So the first question about new books on the discoveries. You know, I've written a couple books on the show. I wrote Knight Rider Legacy way back in 2002. I also built or wrote some Knight 2000 owners manuals and a collectibles guide, all these different books. And in 2012, I wrote Knight Rider 30 Years of a Lone Crusader and His Talking Car, which is still available if you're interested. Actually, some of those books are still available. I'll put some links down in the description below if anyone's interested in reading any of those books. But as far as new books, I don't want to say never. I don't want to say never, but for now, there's no plans for books, only because I don't have the time to write a book. I've got so many other things going on outside of Knight Rider, let alone the semi, tractor, and trailer restoration, recording these videos for you fine folks, that I don't think I'll have time anytime soon to do a new book. But who knows what the future holds, right? And then will there be a video featuring the history of the kit car in the Peterson Museum? Yes, there will be, but it's hard to do a proper video when you don't have the car with you. So it'll probably wait till after the car leaves Peterson. But yes, we will do more than one video on that car. Then we'll do a whole series on that car. All right, Matthew Kochi. Does KITT still have front turn signals? If so, are they functional? Talking about one of our two original cars, do the turn signals still there? So yes and no. The original wiring and even the original bulb is still there, but whenever they put the fourth season style nose on, now if you're familiar with the show, in the first season, Michael Chaffee designed a front nose with smoked acrylic covers to cover the turn signals, so you could actually still see the turn signals through those covers. By season 2, they changed the nose so they didn't have the covers, they just had like an indent there to make it look like they had covers. By season 4, George Barris came in, resculpted the whole front nose, made it all smooth, no turn signal cutouts or indents or anything. So obviously my car has the fourth season style nose on it, so you couldn't see turn signals even if they were mounted there. The turn signal housings themselves are not there. The wiring and the bulb is still there. It literally just hangs down. I think both of the bulbs, are they burned out? I think one actually might still work. I feel like one of them works and one's burnt out. I haven't checked in a decade. But yes, they are still there and they kind of function. I mean, the tail lights, you know, when you turn the turn signal on, the tail light bulbs blink like a turn signal. But the front, excuse me. The front ones are there, but not, you can't see them. All right. Jason Smith. Hi. Your screen used cars, I have a few questions on your screen used cars. Do they still have the wiring and sockets for the front? Oh, this is the same question. I just addressed that a minute ago. Were they ever really registered for road use during their time with Universal Studios? No, none of the cars were. They were never registered for road use. They were always filmed on closed sets, so anytime you saw them on the road, they were shut down. There wasn't any public traffic, so Universal never registered them for the road. And did they have to pass California smog test? Definitely not. In fact, one of the first things they did with pretty much all the cars was remove all the emissions equipment. All right, so Jeff and Lisa Marie Foose. On the original pod you showed, on the bottom right was a button with a figure of a man and a button of a figure of a woman. What are those all about? That's a good eye. So that was something that Universal Theme Park added to the car. So if you remember the history of this car, after the show ended, Universal Studios took their insert dash. Actually, the insert dash is right here. This is the actual insert dash. They took their insert dash and they put it in my car and then put it on display at Universal Studios. You know, over the years, the dash got worn from people getting in and out, pressing buttons, pulling things off of it that they shouldn't be pulling off. So whoever was in charge of maintenance of the cars at the theme park, at some point, those labels needed replaced. because those are the original labels. Like the switch pods were the insert switch pods. Like when you press turbo boost and all that stuff, and you see the close-ups, it was actually the switch pods in this dash. But the labels got worn over the years, so I think someone just thought it'd be a fun Easter egg to put men and women's restroom signs on KITT switch pods, and they are still there today, and we're leaving them because that's pretty cool. Jason Fractic, what is the rapid cycle button for on KITT's dashboard, and was it ever used in an episode? So we'll start with that. He has got a couple questions. That's the first one. So yes, rapid cycle was actually used in one episode, Out of the Woods, and it goes in tangent with hydraulic lift. So there's a hydraulic lift button which raises KITT up. It's very similar to the high traction drop downs from season 2. Hydraulic lift raises KITT up. Rapid cycle makes him go, and that's what he used in Out of the Woods to whenever the logs fell on top of KITT. He used rapid cycle to shake the logs loose so he could jump out. So that was the only time we ever saw rapid cycle in the series. All right, so now your much loved episode commentaries are coming to an end soon. So what are you planning to replace them with? Are they much loved? Maybe. You guys seem to appreciate them. What am I going to replace them with? I don't know. What should I replace them with? Maybe you guys should let me know. You guys should direct the channel where it's going to go. What should I replace the episode commentaries with? Put it in the comments. Maybe you'll get your wish. Would you consider commentaries on any of the Knight Rider movies? Well, yes. I think we are going to do a commentary at least on Knight Rider 2000. I'm not going to do one on Knight Rider 2010. I've never even seen Knight Rider 2010 the whole way through. It just didn't connect. Should I do commentaries on Team Knight Rider 2008? I'm not saying no to those. I could very well do both of those series if there's interest and if there's demand. So let me know. We'll see. Okay, so Steve Gregoroff. What newer Trans Am's got the 82 round shift knob? You could see both the round and T handles in later seasons. Only 1982 Trans Am's came with the round push button shifter. And that's the one they used for the insert shots too. But really, the cars used in the show were 82s, 83s, and 84s. And the 83s and 84s, they never swapped out the shifter handles with the 82 style. There was no need to, because you never were going to see that detail. I mean, you know, you're not supposed to see that detail. Obviously, with Blu-ray and what, you do get a glimpse of a T handle here and there, but they never bothered with that, because as long as the insert shots had the round shifter, it didn't matter what any of the other cars had, because you weren't going to see it. Also from Steve, the Sesame and Slaggle miniatures used the wrong wheelbase trailer in both Goliath episodes, but got it right for the flag trailer. Was the Goliath trailer a carryover from an earlier episode of Knight Rider they were involved in? I don't know if it was a carryover from an earlier episode of Knight Rider, but a lot of these models, Sesame and Slaggle models, both the big ones like Goliath or a nondescript car or whatever, they would recycle those for all kinds of different shows. Fall Guy and Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, all those shows that they did, even movies. So I wouldn't be surprised if Goliath was recycled from another model. That would make perfect sense. And we know, you know, after they filmed Goliath Returns, then they filmed Mouth of the Snake. And in Mouth of the Snake, they used the actual Goliath cab in Mouth of the Snake, but it was painted blue and changed up. And we also saw the model of that converted Peterbilt. So they probably took their Goliath model and changed it and repurposed it for something else. That would be my guess. Pete Fontaine. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend RetroCon this year. Too bad. It was awesome. Do you and AJ have any other meet and greets scheduled this year? No, we don't have any more planned this year. The car is now in storage for the winter. But you know, next year we're definitely going to be hitting up hopefully a couple different shows. Hopefully we can go back to RetroCon next year. That would be awesome. And we're going to do maybe a couple other shows. So we'll be sure to announce it both here on this channel and on our Facebook page. So hopefully you can come out, Pete, and we can meet you. All right, guys, those are all of the questions this week. So thank you so much for your support. And again, if you're interested in becoming a flag agent or even just any level of our Patreon supporter, we greatly appreciate it. Again, it helps us to be able to bring you this type of content. Check it out. There's a link down in the description below. All right, I'm tired of talking, it's time to, I guess, go back to the video where I am talking there also. So I guess I just have to talk. So thanks. Let's get back to it. So guys, it's an absolutely miserable day outside. We started the day with 2 inches of snow. Now it's raining. It's barely 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Terrible, disgusting day. But I do have some major progress to show you guys on the trailer. Really exciting stuff. We got the drop deck or the tilt deck completely removed. We had our welding and fabrication guys, the same ones that did the frame extension on the tractor. They came out today, actually they've been out here a couple days, and they knocked out getting all that cut out. So you won't believe the difference. Let me show you. Ready? All right, there we go. Look at that. It's open all the way up to the ceiling. You might hear the rain hitting the roof. Sorry about that. But yeah, they got it all out. The tilt deck was right here, and then there was another bit of ceiling in here. They ran out of time to get these little bits actually cut off and ground down, so I'll take care of that. But they got the deck out and all of the supports back here. So take a look at that. We are all open finally. Really cool. So all of these aluminum panels and this track, that all needs to come out, which that's something I'll do. But you can see they had to pull some of it down here to be able to get to where they needed to grind right here, because there was a support right here, and it went and a beam across the top for the deck, and that has all been removed. So you can see here there's all this styrofoam in here for a little bit of insulation. So that's gonna come out for now, but we'll be re-insulating what we can here. So what you see up there, that's original plywood from 1978. That's the original plywood that this whole trailer was lined with at the time. Now, of course, up here in the front, it still has all its original plywood. From here forward is all original, but it's been painted, and it's been painted multiple times, you know? But this is actually what it looked like from Dorsey. It was unpainted, original. So it's really cool to be able to have panels like that are unpainted. And of course, some of the panels are missing, like this one, because at some point they put an outlet in there. So they cut the aluminum, removed the plywood. But our fabricator's coming back when it's a little warmer, and he's gonna patch all these holes, which is really cool. I was hoping to find some kind of a clue to the ramp mechanism on these boards, something that someone wrote in pencil, but all we see are someone wrote a bunch of horizontal pencil marks on these boards the whole way back. That's the only thing we see. And it's only on this side. It's not on this side, unfortunately. You can see here that obviously there's been some kind of water damage over the years here, so we're gonna have to address that before we put all this back together. Like I said, all this is coming out. We're gonna insulate and then re-plywood everything back to exactly the way it was on the show before we kind of build it up even more. So a couple interesting things. The fab guys pulled these panels off in this insulation, and look what they found behind it. Spike was here, June 10th, 1997. Tuck 97 was here too. So we actually made the discovery a couple months ago that there was a race car driver named Spike, his first name was Spike, who owned this trailer briefly. So when we pulled this panel down and saw Spike was here, I'm like, I know exactly who that is. But now we have a year associated with the two, 1997. So really curious what else, what's behind, is there anything else behind these panels? We're definitely gonna find out. There's some other markings here. I'm pretty sure none of this stuff is from the show, because when it was used on the show, we're pretty sure these all had plywood on them. So any markings we see would have been after the show, pretty sure. All right, Man, it's really raining up there. And now we can see where all the holes are in the ceiling, right? So one other little bit that we discovered, we were looking at a screenshot from the show. You remember how I talked about, you see that, let me see if I can get a better look at it. Right there, that pressure sensor right there. You can see that on the show. We think that was for a cutoff when the door was closed. It would hit this pressure switch and deactivate the mechanism. But we were watching the show and we saw another one down here on a screenshot. And we're like, well, there's not one there now, but was there ever? So we came out here, came down, and take a look at that. There's two, it looks like cut off screws right there for another pressure sensor. How about that? Isn't that cool? So, yeah, so finally, you know, we were kind of a little bit at a standstill on the trailer teardown until this deck was out, but now that it's out, we can get all of this removed. So that's coming next. All right, so here's the next piece of this video. I've been kind of recording little chunks throughout the last week and a half or so, or actually 2 weeks, I think. Just because the weather has been so unpredictable here. I mean, like 3 days ago, there were 2 inches of snow on the ground. Today it's 75 and sunny. So unfortunately, that's the time of year we're getting into around here. So it's gonna be all over the map. So I'm trying to get as much work done as I can while it's really nice and warm. But what I wanted to share today is actually a really, really cool story. And it's something I alluded to at the beginning of this video. After searching for months and months and months, talking to many Knight Rider cast and crew members, I ended up finally finding a couple of the people who actually modified this trailer at Universal Studios. They were employed at Universal Studios in their special effects department, and finally tracked them down. And just a few days ago, I had a call with both of these people. Hopefully it's the first of many conversations, but even in this first conversation, they answered almost all of our questions regarding the trailer and especially the ramp mechanism. Now, if you followed our videos in the past, you know the ramp mechanism is the biggest mystery about this trailer. How did that rear door go down and up? You know, we, over the last 6 months or so, have had so many theories. And some of you guys in the comments of some of our videos put your theories in. And one of those theories is correct. And now we know exactly how it was set up, which I'm going to share with you in a minute. And what's really cool is now we know kind of what evidence we're looking for on the trailer today. So this is going to be, I guess, the introduction to the next piece of the trailer teardown, which we're really, really close to finishing the teardown in here. And I'll give you a little tour here in a minute. But yeah, once we get it torn down, and especially get some of this flooring up, we're going to be able to hopefully find some of the evidence we need. And then we can really start thinking about the rebuild of this whole thing. So let me walk you through and explain to you exactly how the ramp mechanism worked on the trailer according to the guys that actually built it. It's really cool. All right, so we're gonna start here at the back of the trailer, all right? Because this is the part that was the least mystery, right? We kind of knew the stuff going on back here. All right, we've got the door, obviously, not the original door this is not the original door as we've discussed. This is a door that was added much later. Universal Studios removed the original door before they auctioned the trailer in 1987. So we don't know if the door still exists. If you watch our previous videos, we think that it no longer exists, all right? So, if you hear any noise outside, that's acorns and stuff falling on the roof because it's fall here and that's what happens in this area of the country in the fall. All right, so see up there, those 4 holes, there were bolts in there. I took the bolts out because they were all cut. There was a pulley mounted there and a pulley mounted there, all right? Cable attached to the door itself on either side. You can see all that in the show. There were 2 pressure sensors, or not pressure sensors, what are they called? Limit switches, that's it. Not pressure, limit switches. One is still mounted right there. I know it's kind of hard to see in the dark, but I don't really feel like putting the door down because it's a whole thing. So limit switch right there. And we recently found out there was a limit switch right down here as well. Those limit switches were wired into the circuitry, so whenever the door was closed the whole way, they'd hit the limit switch and it would kill the power to the door. That's how they knew the door was closed the whole way. All right, so we had the pulley, cable. The cable was either 3/8 inch or 1/2 inch. They couldn't exactly remember. All right, so then the cable would come up here and the cable would go back across the top. Remember, we had the false ceiling in here, right? So this was all kind of hidden. Cable would go across the top over to right here. You see the three bolts, all right? There was a cross member right here connected to those 3. Cross member across here, all right? Right here, there was a pulley. The pulley would turn the cable in towards the center on both sides, all right? So it's bringing the 2 cables together. Another set of pulleys or sheaves right here would then direct them back further, all right? So it's bringing the 2 cables in, 2 more sheaves, bringing it back here. Right about here somewhere, there was a buckle or some kind of a connector, and it would connect it to a single cable, right? So you had a single cable, connector, the 2 cables, and then the pulleys that go out, all right? Now, this is where things get, we still have to get clarification, but we're gonna share this with you now. All right, so cross members back here. We're now at one cable. All right, so this worked either one of 2 ways, and I think it's gonna be the second way, but I'll tell you the first way first. Cable ran along the ceiling here in the channel, the unistrut channel that we've talked about. Cable ran all the way back here to a pulley or a sheave that was mounted right here, went directly down to a winch that was mounted on the floor somewhere in this area. Now, we've talked about this imprint in the floor here. I mean, it sure looks like a winch could have gone there. The only problem is this is the original floor and there are no holes right there to mount the winch. So perhaps it's under all of this, which we still have to tear out. But we should find under this floor a couple big holes in the wood where they mounted the winch, somewhere in this area, all right? So that's theory 1. The only problem with that theory is if you have a winch down here and you've got a multi-1,000-pound door, we think, I mean, it was well over 1,000 pounds, maybe a couple thousand pounds. The problem is if you have a winch down here and the cable is going straight up to a pulley right here, all the force is gonna pull on that pulley. You know, while the door's opening, it's gonna put force on that pulley right here. And the problem is these ribs are not strong enough to support that weight. It would buckle the ceiling in, all right? So that's why we think maybe it wasn't that way, all right? So then AJ, fellow Knight Rider historian, hypothesized that instead of that, where that cross member is and where the 2 cables come into one via the sheaves, instead of it running across the ceiling, he hypothesized that it actually came down at an angle to a winch right there, which would make actually a lot more sense, right? Because they didn't need this area for anything. The car would have parked right in here. So they didn't need this area. So they could have had the cable come down here. And instead of a 90-degree angle, you know, would take more force than a gentle 45, and all the stress would be on the cross member up here, which has firm mounting points to the header panel of the trailer. So we still need to get some clarification from the guys we talked to see, did it truly go back, make a 90 and come down, or was it more of a gentle slope, which is what we think of. Now, of course, either one of those solutions, one of two, we're 99% sure is correct, poses a problem for us, right? Because this entire time we've been talking about, well, we're gonna build the set in here, right? We're gonna put the office here, we're gonna put the lounge there, everything's gonna be great. Well, if you have a cable running straight down here through where the wall would be to the lounge and a winch in the middle of the floor of the lounge, that's kind of gonna cramp our style, right? Even if the first option is where the cable goes straight up and over, well, you're still gonna have a little bit of an issue. Now, if the cable does go straight up, we could, well, again, we don't know where the winch was mounted, because if the winch would have been mounted back there, we could have built a false wall and this would have been enough room for the lounge and could have the mechanics back there. But, like I said, I don't see, in the exposed wood here, I don't see any place where a winch would have been mounted, which tells me it's gotta be under this tile, under this linoleum, which that's our next thing, is to rip all this out. So that's where kind of things are at. And as for this unistrut, maybe, all this time we were convinced that that was used for the door opening mechanism in some fashion. Maybe it actually wasn't. Now, we're still 99% sure this was in there. The studio put this in here, all right? And we've talked about this before. The main reason we're sure that the studio put this in here is because we know the vents in the ceiling. There's one, where is it? Down there, one here. We know those are not factory Dorsey. These were added later. We see them in the pilot presentation when we first see the trailer. So we know that these were there the entire time. The only reason they're off center like this is because of that rail, right? So the rail has been in there since the early days at the studio. So it was used for something. We just don't know exactly what. Maybe it is still related to the ramp mechanism. Hopefully we'll get some answers to that. But so you can see here, we've got, I've spent a lot of time recently trying to just get all the stuff out of here. We had tons of scrap wood, just debris everywhere. So I've really been cleaning this out. We still have panels we got to remove down there, but otherwise this is almost gutted. But I think our next thing we've got to do, we're on the hunt now. We're on the hunt for winch mounting holes somewhere in this wood. They should be somewhere in the center, I would think, not off center either way. So the next thing we got to do is we got to get this floor ripped up. So we're not going to do that in this video. That's going to require some tools, some time, and some other stuff. So this is just kind of setting you guys up for what's coming next with the trailer. But we're going to hit this hard. We're going to get the rest of this cleaned out. We're going to get those panels removed down here so we can, get a really good look at everything back here. Get it all stripped down. And then, we're going to put insulation in these cavities, and then we've got to mass purchase a bunch of this, I think it's 1/4 inch plywood. I'll have to measure it and see. Actually, it might not even be 1/4 inch. Maybe 3/16. But yeah, we've got to get all this repaneled back to the way it was from Dorsey, which is the way it was whenever it was on the show. And then of course we'll build in the corrugated metal panels with the X bracing. That all will come later. But after we get this done and after we get the floor torn up there, the next thing is we're taking this door off. And even though winter's coming here, I hate to wait until spring for this. So the door is something I can certainly tear off. And it's not like, we're weatherproofed in here. As you can see, there's gaps, mice, whatever can get in here. We've got holes in the floor where you can see all the way down to the ground. So, even if a stray mouse or whatever gets in here, there's literally no damage they can do to the inside at this point. So we got to get this door off so we can work to get the that panel down there rebuilt the way it should be. So get all that out. We're going to rip the winches out, get the rest of this wiring out. And basically at that point, it'll be back to, your stripped out factory Dorsey for the most part. And then from there, we're going to rebuild it. We're going to put the Toddco roll-up door back in here that would have been in here from the factory. And during the show, you can see the door was always permanently mounted up, even when they had the ramp on here. So, so we want to replicate that, even though you never see that door. But if we can get this torn off, get a Toddco door put back in here, that'll at least provide some coverage back here while we build the correct ramp. And in the meantime, we'll probably throw a giant tarp over here just to, keep some of the riffraff out of here. So there you go. There is an update on the trailer and a plan of attack, what we're going to hit up next. So, stay tuned, stay with us, and with any luck, we'll be revealing some mounting points for the winch and kind of really getting this all together. And hopefully, we can get some drawings going of what this cross brace needs to look like and start to work to get that fabricated. So teardown is almost done, and the rebuild process is coming soon. So hope you guys will be along with me for that ride. All right, so I'm here, Spike was here, Tuck was here, and now you guys have been here too. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. We've got so much work, and now the fun stuff is really going to start. Once you get all the teardown done, then the rebuilding, and you start to put those pieces back together, and it starts to really look like the semi. That's what I'm super excited about. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate your time. We'll catch you next time.